My name is Bridget Fuller, and I am 32 years old. I am standing in a ballroom with 200 guests, Italian marble beneath my heels, crystal chandeliers casting their light across white tablecloths, and my name card does not carry my name. It reads "Poor broke sister living off her brother." Ivory cardstock, calligraphy font. The same hand that inscribed Mr. and Mrs. Gerald Whitfield composed this. Whoever created this card worked with deliberate care. The woman beside me notices it first. Her mouth falls open. She nudges the man next to her. A giggle, then a whisper. Then the table behind me turns around, and the laughter spreads in a wave that reaches the centerpieces. 200 guests, my brother's wedding day, and Gerald Whitfield is watching me from the head table with a smile I will carry for the rest of my life. But here is what none of them knew about the woman they were laughing at. What Gerald Whitfield did next cost him more than any property he ever constructed. And by the following morning, every person in that room would know precisely who I am. Welcome back to Calm Drama Stories, where real people share moments that tested their dignity and transformed everything. If you have ever been ridiculed by people who believe money makes them superior, this story is for you. Drop a comment and be sure to subscribe. Let me go back 13 years. I am 19, sophomore year at State, double majoring in business and accounting because my advisor told me that is where the opportunities are. I have a 3.7 GPA, a part-time position filing insurance paperwork, and a dorm room with a window that rattles when the wind rises. Life is ordinary. I am grateful for ordinary. Then my phone rings at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday in October. Dad is gone. Heart attack at the warehouse where he worked the night shift. They found him between pallets of drywall. He was 44. I drive home in 3 hours. Ethan is sitting on the front steps in his pajamas. He is 11. The neighbor is standing behind him, arms folded, already discussing who to contact. Our mother left when I was 7. No forwarding address, no birthday cards, nothing. The state sends a caseworker within 48 hours. She sits at our kitchen table with a clipboard and explains that Ethan will need to be placed in foster care unless a family member with stable income can assume guardianship. I am 19. I work 12 hours a week filing claims. I share a dorm room with a girl named Tasha who leaves her hair ties everywhere. I sign the guardianship papers with hands that have not stopped trembling in 3 days. I withdraw from school the following Monday. 2 jobs. Day shift as an office clerk at a plumbing supply company. Evenings tutoring math at the community center. Ethan gets the bedroom. I take the couch. Our apartment has one window, a radiator that clangs at night, and rent I can manage if I skip lunch 3 days a week. I did not choose this life, but I chose him. 13 years is a long time on a couch. But here is the truth about survival. You keep moving because stopping is not a possibility. And then one day you look up and realize you have built something. Ethan graduates high school with honors, earning a full scholarship to State, the same school I abandoned. He studies architecture. He calls me every Sunday at 8 in the morning, and we talk about nothing for 40 minutes. Those calls are the finest part of my week. While Ethan is in college, I return community college first, then transfer to a 4-year program. Night classes, weekend study sessions at the public library while other women my age are at brunches and bachelorette parties. I finish at 30. I pass the CPA exam on my first attempt. I am hired at Morrison & Klein, a mid-size firm, 3rd largest in the state. I am nobody's charity case. Ethan graduates at 22 and lands a position at a small architecture firm downtown. We celebrate with pizza at the same kitchen table where I sign the guardianship papers. 6 months later, he calls me on a Wednesday, not our usual day. His voice sounds different. Bridge. I met someone. Her name is Paige Whitfield. They met at a gallery opening through a mutual friend. She is 25, studying interior design. Funny, warm, and absolutely devoted to my brother. I am happy for him, genuinely. But Paige Whitfield's last name arrives with a zip code. A real one. Gated community, country club membership, a father who develops strip malls and mixed-use properties across 3 counties. The Whitfields occupy a different world. Literally. I do not yet know that the Whitfield world operates by rules. And the first rule is that people like me do not belong. The first time I meet Gerald Whitfield, he does not shake my hand. He evaluates it. 6 months into Ethan and Paige's relationship, I am invited to dinner at the Whitfield estate. Estate is the appropriate word. 6,000 square feet, gated entrance, a circular driveway with a fountain that I am fairly certain costs more per month in water than my rent. I wear a navy dress from the clearance rack at Nordstrom Rack. I put on my father's watch, a Timex with a scratched crystal, and a leather band worn soft from 20 years of warehouse shifts. It is the only piece of him I kept. Gerald opens the door himself. Tall, silver-haired, shoulders like a man who has never been refused. He examines my dress first, then the watch, his lips pressing thin. So, what do you do, Bridget? I am a financial analyst at Morrison & Klein. Interesting. He pauses. At which firm did you say? I repeat the name. He nods once, then turns to Diane, his wife, and begins discussing the wine. Diane is 58, blonde, immaculate. She smiles the way people smile when they are cataloging your shortcomings. That is a lovely dress, she says. Is it new? Paige laughs nervously. Ethan reaches for my hand beneath the table. After dinner, Gerald escorts Ethan into his study. I am in the hallway pretending to admire a painting when I catch fragments through the door. Your sister, first impression, our guests. I cannot make out Ethan's response, but I hear Gerald's tone. The tone of a man who is not asking. He is directing. I drive home with the Timex pressing into my wrist. Gerald Whitfield does not shake hands. He measures them. And tonight I came up short. The engagement arrives 4 months later. Paige calls me herself to deliver the news. She sounds genuinely thrilled and I want to accept that at face value. But the engagement party invitation comes 3 weeks later and I notice the particulars. Country club attire, 120 guests. The Whitfield logo embossed on the envelope. Yes, the family has a logo. I am assigned to a table near the bar, which is the polite phrasing for the back corner. Ethan is at the head table with Paige, Gerald, Diane, and a senator's wife. 12 tables between us. During the cocktail hour, Gerald moves through the room like a campaign rally. He introduces Ethan to every associate, every partner, every connection. My future son-in-law, self-made, top of his class. He says it 4 times. I count. Not once does he acknowledge who raised this self-made man while he was building his academic record. Diane locates me near the shrimp tower. She hands me a glass of sparkling water, not champagne. Bridget, a brief note. The rehearsal dinner next spring. Gerald's associates will be present. I hope you will have something suitable to wear. She pats my arm. Just a thought. I smile. I say thank you. I drink the sparkling water. That night, I sit in my Honda Civic in the country club parking lot for 15 minutes. The engine is off. The radio is off. The lot is lined with BMWs and Lexuses and one Range Rover with a vanity plate that reads Bieltimo. I open my laptop on the passenger seat. I create a new folder. I name it Receipts. I screenshot Diane's text about appropriate attire and save it. Then I close the laptop, start the car, and drive home. 3 weeks before the wedding, Gerald makes his move. He invites Ethan to lunch at a steakhouse downtown, the kind with leather booths and $40 appetizers. Ethan tells me about it that evening while I am making spaghetti in my kitchen. Gerald offered him a position at Whitfield Properties, lead architect on a new mixed-use development in the suburbs. Salary, double what Ethan currently earns. Corner office, company car. That is remarkable, I say. And I mean it. Ethan picks at the garlic bread. There is a condition. He does not meet my eyes. He did not say it directly. He is too calculated for that. But he kept speaking about focus. About how a man needs to look forward, not backward. About how my sister... Ethan stops, draws a breath. About how you would always remind people where I came from. The sauce is bubbling. I turn the burner down. He tried to purchase your absence, I say. I declined. Ethan, it was not difficult, Bridge. It took me about 5 seconds. I nod. I stir the sauce. I do not cry because I have work to do. Later that week, Gerald's personal assistant sends me an email. Subject line, helpful relocation resources. Inside are links to apartment listings in Portland, Oregon, 2,700 miles from here. The implication is far from subtle. I forward the email to my receipts folder. I add Diane's 3 most recent texts, the ones where she inquires whether I have considered stepping back from wedding planning so the families can connect. I do not scream. I do not cry. I open the folder and I keep saving. Gerald Whitfield believes I am a problem to be managed. He has not encountered someone who files paperwork for a living. 11 days before the wedding, I prepare an envelope. Manila 9 by 12, the kind I use at work when I need a client to pay attention. Inside, I place 4 documents. 1. A copy of my CPA license issued by the North Carolina State Board. 2. My Morrison & Klein employee badge, laminated with my photo and title. 3. A commendation letter from a client whose company I rescued from a $2 million audit error last spring. 4. An offer letter, promotion to senior manager effective June 1st, pending my signature. I slide the envelope into my work bag. I do not know if I will require it. I hope I will not. That Sunday, Ethan comes over for our regular coffee. He is quieter than usual. He settles on the couch, the same couch where I slept for 6 years so he could have the bedroom, and wraps his hands around his mug. I will be there, I tell him. I will smile. I will be gracious. I will sit at table 14 or table 40 or wherever they place me. He looks up. But if he crosses a line in front of everyone, I am walking out and I am not returning. Ethan sets down his coffee. If you walk, I walk. Do not say that. She is going to be your wife and you are my brother. You are the reason I had a childhood instead of a case number. We sit together in the silence for a while. The radiator clanks. Somewhere outside, a car alarm sounds and fades. I tuck the manila envelope into my clutch, the small black one I purchased for the occasion. It barely fits. Just in case. I do not yet know I will need that envelope in exactly 11 days. The rehearsal dinner is held at the Whitfield estate. 40 guests, white linen, candlelight, a string quartet playing Debussy in the foyer. Gerald greets every guest by name. He recalls their children's ages, their vacation itineraries, their wine preferences. He is a man who catalogs people the way some men catalog investments, strictly by value. When I arrive, Diane intercepts me at the entrance. Bridget, so pleased you could join us. She leans in. You look nice, very practical. She escorts me to my seat, the far end of the table, past the business partners and the country club couples, past Ethan's college friends and Paige's sorority sisters. I am placed beside Gerald's former accountant's wife, who spends the entire evening discussing her Peloton. During the toasts, Gerald rises. He lifts his glass. To my daughter, he says, the light of this family. He turns to Ethan. And to this young man who constructed himself from nothing, who arrived with nothing and earned his place at this table. He does not look at me. Not once. I notice a woman at the far end watching me. Silver hair, reading glasses resting on her forehead, dark eyes that appear to be tracking something carefully. She is seated alone. She is the only guest not laughing at Gerald's remarks. After dinner, Diane finds me in the hallway near the coat closet. Tomorrow is Paige's day, she says. Her voice is measured, her hand on my elbow. Please do not make it about yourself. I remove her hand quietly. I have never made anything about me, Diane. That is rather the problem. I drive home. I sit in my car for 20 minutes. Engine off, lights off. The manila envelope rests on the passenger seat. Tomorrow is the wedding. I know what you are thinking. Why did I not simply leave right then? Because I promised Ethan I would be there. Because withdrawing from a rehearsal dinner is one thing, but stepping away from your brother's wedding is something you can never undo. So I remained. And what unfolded the next day made that rehearsal dinner look like a rehearsal. Wedding morning, Saturday, 6:47 in the morning. I am standing in my apartment before the bathroom mirror, and the face looking back at me is exhausted. Not the kind of tired that coffee resolves. The kind that settles behind your eyes after 13 years of being the one who handles everything. I lay my dress across the bed, navy blue, fitted, purchased on sale 6 weeks ago. It is not designer. It is not borrowed. It is mine and it fits as though it was crafted for me. I fasten my father's watch around my wrist. The crystal is scratched from 1,000 warehouse shifts. The leather band is so worn it feels like skin. Timex, $23 at a department store in 1998. Worth more to me than anything adorning Gerald Whitfield's fountain. 13 years since you left, Dad. Look what your boy became. I pick up the manila envelope. Hold it over my clutch. Set it aside. Place it back in. Take it out. Return it. It stays. The drive to the venue takes 40 minutes. The Whitfield estate sits on 12 acres outside of town, and today it has been entirely transformed. White tents line the garden. Valet attendants in matching vests. A sign at the entrance reads the Whitfield Fuller Wedding in gold cursive, although the Fuller is noticeably smaller. I park between a Mercedes and a Range Rover. My Honda Civic looks as though it wandered in from the wrong address. I check my lipstick in the rearview mirror. I check the envelope in my clutch. I check my father's watch. 8:22 in the morning. The ceremony begins at 10 o'clock. I do not belong here. I know it. They know it. But Ethan is getting married today, and nothing keeps me from that. The ballroom is breathtaking. I will grant Gerald that. Italian marble floors polished to a mirror finish. Crystal chandeliers, 3 of them, staggered across the ceiling like suspended fireworks. Floral arrangements taller than I am. White roses and peonies and eucalyptus cascading from silver urns. Each table draped in ivory linen with gold charger plates. 200 chairs, white satin bows tied to every one. I count them because that is what I do. I count things. I locate my table. Table 14, last row, far right corner, 6 feet from the kitchen doors. Through the wall, I can hear catering staff clanking trays and calling out orders. Ethan's colleagues are at table 3. His college roommate is at table 5. His old Little League coach, who drove 40 minutes to be here, is at table 7. His sister, the one who raised him, is at table 14. I pull out my chair. The name cards are arranged in a semicircle around the centerpiece. Every other card is propped upright, facing outward, the calligraphy visible from 3 feet away. Mine is face down. I glance around the table. Gerald's business partner's wife. A couple I do not recognize. An older gentleman scrolling his phone. An empty chair. Nobody at this table knows who I am. Nobody at this table was told. I reach for the name card. Ivory cardstock, substantial. The calligraphy on the reverse is elegant. The same script used on the invitation. The same style on every card at every table. I turn it over and the air leaves my body completely. 200 chairs, white satin bows, and mine is the one nearest the exit. I stand there for roughly 10 seconds. The card reads, "Poor broke sister living off her brother." I read it twice. The calligraphy is immaculate. Whoever produced this card used the same pen, the same ink, the same hand that inscribed Mr. and Mrs. Gerald Whitfield on the head arrangement. This is not a caterer's prank or a printer's error. This is deliberate precision. The woman beside me, Gerald's business partner's wife, glances over. Her eyes expand. She raises a hand to her mouth, but the laughter has already escaped. She nudges her husband. He reads the card. He chuckles. He whispers to the couple across from them. I watch the amusement travel through the room like a current. Table 14 notices it. Then the woman at table 13 turns around, craning her neck. Someone raises a phone. Oh my God. A voice says that is terrible. They are laughing. I rise. I hold the card between my thumb and forefinger. I look toward the head table, past the roses and the charger plates, and the 200 guests in their cocktail dresses and tailored suits. Gerald is watching me. He is seated at the center of the head table, Diane beside him, a glass of Prosecco in his hand. He lifts the glass half an inch. A salute, a challenge, a measurement. His lips curve. He is smiling. My hands are steady. My heartbeat is somewhere around 130, but my hands are steady, and that matters because I refuse to allow 200 people to witness me tremble. I place the card face up on the table. I press it flat with my palm. If you intend to shame me, have the courage to do it where everyone can see. I sit back down. The restroom has marble countertops and cloth towels folded into fans. Even the bathroom in this place costs more than my apartment. I secure the lock. I press my palms flat against the counter and lean forward until my forehead nearly touches the mirror. Stay or leave. If I go, Gerald wins. He gets precisely what he wanted. The inconvenient sister removed. The narrative polished. The brand preserved. Ethan marries into the Whitfield name with no reminder of canned soup and guardianship papers. If I stay, I endure my brother's wedding with a name card that labels me a parasite, surrounded by people who find it amusing. My hands are trembling now. I grip the counter edge until the trembling ceases. The face in the mirror is not a woman who begs. She is not a woman who explains herself. She is a woman who signed legal documents at 19 and taught herself double-entry bookkeeping, while her little brother completed homework at the same kitchen table. I open my clutch. The manila envelope is there, pressed between my wallet and a travel pack of tissues. CPA license. Promotion letter. Commendation from a client who told my managing partner I rescued his company. Not yet. I wash my hands. I refresh my lipstick. I straighten the collar of my navy dress. Ethan is walking down that aisle in 40 minutes. If I am absent from that room, Gerald does not merely win today. He wins the narrative. He becomes the man who welcomed a humble young architect into his family out of pure generosity. And I become the sister who could not hold herself together. I walk back out. I sit down at table 14. I position the name card face up, centered before my water glass. Someone at this table has already photographed my name card. I will not discover that until tomorrow. The ceremony is held outdoors in the garden behind the estate. 200 chairs arranged in a crescent beneath a canopy of white fabric and strung lights. A string quartet plays pichelbel as guests settle into their seats. I am in the 12th row. There are only 12 rows. The processional begins. Bridesmaids in lavender. Groomsmen in charcoal. Paige's sorority sisters. Her cousin, her childhood friend from Connecticut. On Ethan's side, his college roommate, his supervisor, 2 friends from the firm. No family because I am the only family Ethan has, and I am in the 12th row. Then Paige appears. She is stunning. Genuinely stunning, in a gown that likely costs more than my car. Gerald escorts her down the aisle with his chin elevated, his stride measured, his hand commanding on her elbow. He is not giving her away. He is presenting her. Ethan is standing at the altar. He is wearing a tuxedo that fits as though it was sewn directly onto his frame. His eyes are glistening and he resembles our father. The same jaw, the same quiet steadiness, the same manner of standing as though the ground beneath him is solid, even when it is not. They exchange vows. Paige promises to love him. Ethan promises to love her. Then Ethan adds something absent from the printed program. I want to acknowledge the people who shaped who I am. He looks at me, not at Gerald, not at Diane, not at the 200 guests in their designer chairs. At me. Row 12. Gerald's jaw tightens. Diane reaches for her pearls. I weep quietly, grateful for Ethan, proud of him and completely, utterly alone in a garden that cost more than our entire childhood apartment. He is magnificent up there. My little brother. The boy I fed canned soup for dinner, because it was all I could manage. Cocktail hour. The garden transforms into a mingling ground of champagne flutes and polished conversation. I am positioned near the bar with a glass of sparkling water. The bartender did not inquire what I wanted. He observed my table number and poured, when a woman appears beside me. Silver hair, reading glasses on a chain around her neck. She is the one from the rehearsal dinner who watched me without laughing. I saw your name card, she says. I stiffen. Everybody saw my name card. My name is Lorraine. Lorraine Whitfield Caruso. She allows that to settle. I am Gerald's sister. I say nothing. She reaches into her handbag and retrieves her phone. She scrolls to a photograph, not a recent one. The screen displays a faded image of a table card, captured from above. The edge is yellowed. The handwriting unmistakable. Same slant, same pressure, same ink. The card reads, Gerald's embarrassment. The teacher who married down. 1995. Lorraine says my wedding. He had these produced for my place setting at the reception. Same card stock. Same calligraphy pen. I stare at the screen. 30 years. Same card stock, same ink, same man. What happened? I ask. I stayed silent, she says. For 30 years, I stayed silent. He told our parents I was unstable. He informed his associates I had married beneath my station. Eventually, they all stopped reaching out. Her voice is composed, but her hands are not. I lost 8 years with my parents before they passed. I glance at my father's watch. The scratched crystal catches the garden lights. 11:47 in the evening, cocktail hour winding toward its close, and a stranger has just handed me 30 years of evidence. I am 64 years old, Lorraine says. I have nothing remaining to lose, but you still have time. Do not repeat my mistake. Lorraine married Tom Caruso in the spring of 1995. Tom was a high school shop teacher in a town 40 miles south of here. He drove a pickup truck, wore flannel shirts on weekends, and coached junior varsity baseball without compensation. Gerald was 31 years old and already constructing his empire. His sister marrying a teacher was, in his words, a liability to the brand. He told me I was squandering my potential, Lorraine says. We are seated on a stone bench near the garden gate, away from the gathering. The music from the ballroom is a muffled pulse. He insisted Tom would drag me down, that people would talk. Gerald began with the seating. Lorraine was relocated to the back at every family gathering. Then the invitations ceased arriving. Then the telephone calls. By the time their parents reached their 70s, Gerald had persuaded them that Lorraine was troubled, that the marriage had altered her, that she required distance. I did not see my mother for the last 2 Christmases of her life, Lorraine says. Gerald told her I was occupied. He told me she did not want visitors. She pauses, adjusting her reading glasses. Tom passed 6 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. Gerald did not attend the funeral. I let that settle. Why are you telling me this? Because you are sitting at table 14 with a name card that bears no resemblance to who you are. And I know precisely how this story concludes if you do nothing. What are you suggesting? I am saying I will be present, and if you require a witness, you have one. The cocktail hour concludes. The ballroom doors swing open and 200 guests drift inside for the reception. I enter last. Lorraine is 6 paces behind me. The reception is a production. Gerald has choreographed every element. The lighting transitions from warm gold during dinner to cool blue during the toasts. The DJ cues music between each course. The servers move in synchronized formation like a ballet staged exclusively for the wealthy. I am back at table 14. My name card remains face up. No one has removed it. The woman who laughed earlier avoids my gaze now, but she has not addressed it with anyone. Silence is far less costly than confrontation. Dinner is served. Filet mignon with truffle butter, roasted asparagus, a 3-tiered wedding cake displayed on a side table beneath a spotlight. I eat because I spent 13 years providing meals for a boy who grew up to sit at the head table, and I have more than earned this steak. Then Gerald rises. He taps his glass with a dessert fork. The room falls silent. 200 people rotate their chairs toward the head table like sunflowers tracking the light. I want to say a few words about family, Gerald begins. His voice is warm, practiced, the voice of a man who has courted investors for 30 years. He praises Paige, my princess, my legacy. He praises himself. I built this company from one transaction, one handshake, and a conviction that family is everything. Then he turns to Ethan. And Ethan, a young man who overcame circumstances. He pauses, lets the word linger. We are honored to welcome him into our family. He lifted himself up on his own. Another pause. By himself. The room applauds. 200 glasses rise. Mine remains on the table. Diane reaches across the centerpiece. She retrieves my name card, flips it face down, and presses it gently. Let us not create a scene, dear. Circumstances. He said it like he was scraping something from the bottom of his shoe. I excuse myself from the table. The Whitfield estate connects the ballroom to the main residence through a glass-enclosed corridor lined with family portraits. Gerald at a groundbreaking ceremony. Gerald clasping hands with the governor. Gerald and Diane at a charity gala. No photographs of Lorraine. Not a single one. I am not snooping. I am searching for a restroom that is not crowded with bridesmaids refreshing their lipstick. But Gerald's home office door is ajar and the light inside is burning. I stop because I notice the printer. A wide-format inkjet on a side table, the kind that accommodates cardstock. In the output tray sits a sheet of ivory paper, the same weight, the same finish as the name cards in the ballroom. I step inside. I touch nothing. I lean forward and read. The test print reads, "Poor broke sister living off her brother." Draft version, slightly different font than the final. Beside it, fastened to the tray with a binder clip, is a handwritten note on Gerald's personal stationery. I recognize the monogram. Use the same font as the others. She will assume it came from the planner. He orchestrated this. He sat at this desk in this chair beneath a portrait of himself shaking hands with a congressman, and he composed instructions for my public humiliation. I retrieve my phone. I photograph the test print, the handwritten note, the printer, and the desk. For photographs, I do not take the paper. I do not disturb the clip. I return my phone to my clutch beside the manila envelope. I walk back to the ballroom. I sit down at table 14. I lay my hands flat against the tablecloth. This was not a joke. This was a calculated strategy. And I have precisely 1 hour before the father-daughter dance. The restroom again. This time I am arranging my hair when Diane enters. She has been drinking. Not unsteady, not incoherent, but her edges have softened. The rigid smile has loosened into something approaching honesty. "You know," she says, settling against the counter, "Gerald was not always this way." I wait. When we married, he was considerate. He opened doors. He wrote me letters. She studies her own reflection. Then the money arrived, and the money introduced standards. And the standards introduced rules. "Is that what you tell yourself?" She flinches. "I am asking you, Bridget, woman to woman. Allow tonight to be Paige's evening. I am not the one who placed that name card on the table, Diane." Silence. She straightens, smooths her dress. The softness vanishes. The composure clicks back into position like a mask settling over bone. "I am trying to assist you," she says. "No, you are trying to contain me. There is a meaningful difference." She departs. The door swings shut behind her, and I am alone with the marble countertops and the cloth towels folded into fans. I examine my reflection. Navy dress, father's watch, hair that I styled myself because I have always managed my own hair. Diane has existed in Gerald's shadow for so long she has mistaken it for sunlight. I walk back to the ballroom. The DJ is playing something slow. Couples are drifting onto the dance floor. Gerald is laughing at something a man in a pinstripe suit said. Paige is radiant, her arm woven through Ethan's. My phone vibrates. A text from my managing partner, Marcus. "Congratulations, the promotion is confirmed. We announce Monday." I read it twice. I close my phone. I return it to my clutch beside the envelope. 1 hour ago I was the broke sister. Now I am a senior manager. Nobody in this room is aware. 200 people in that ballroom, and not one of them knows what I discovered in Gerald's office. Not one of them knows what is inside my clutch. And not one of them knows what is about to unfold when the music stops. If you have ever been the only person in a room who possesses the truth, keep watching. This is where everything turns. The father-daughter dance. Gerald escorts Paige to the center of the floor. The DJ plays a timeless piece, the kind of song that draws tears from mothers and straightens the spines of fathers. Gerald holds his daughter as though she is fashioned from porcelain, turning her slowly beneath the chandeliers while 200 guests sigh in unison. I am at table 14. The chairs surrounding me are vacant now. My table mates have drifted to the dance floor, the dessert station, the bar. I am alone with a centerpiece and a face-down name card, and the sound of Gerald Whitfield receiving applause for the act of fatherhood. The song concludes. Applause. Gerald kisses Paige's forehead and returns to the head table like a general who has just secured a minor victory. Then someone settles beside me. Ethan. Bow tie loosened, sleeves still folded from the cocktail hour. He carries the scent of champagne and restrained anxiety. "Hey, are you all right?" "I am fine." "You are not fine." I saw the card. I turned to face him. "You saw it." "I saw it before you did." He is not whispering, but his voice is taut. "Paige told me last night around 2 in the morning. She said her father had them crafted specifically. He pauses. I nearly called the entire thing off. The room feels smaller somehow. You knew since last night? Since 2 in the morning. I did not sleep. I closed my eyes briefly. My little brother, 24 years old, seated in a tuxedo that cost more than the couch I slept on for 6 years, telling me he nearly canceled his wedding because someone chose to demean me. He sits beside me the way we used to sit on that couch, the one where I read him Harry Potter until his eyes closed. Paige begged me not to cancel, Ethan says. She said Gerald simply wanted to make a point, that it would pass. And you believed her? I believed she was frightened of her father. He straightens in his chair. I recognize what that resembles, Bridge. I remember what it looked like when the caseworker arrived. When you were afraid, but you signed anyway. I do not correct him. He is right. So I made Paige a promise, he says. If Gerald commits one more act tonight, one single act, I am standing before everyone. Ethan, this is your wedding. Do not do anything you cannot walk back. The only thing I would regret is allowing you to leave here alone. The string quartet resumes. Something by Vivaldi. Around us, guests are dancing, raising glasses, posing for the photographer. The ordinary, graceful machinery of a beautiful wedding. And here we sit at the rear table, reviewing our position like 2 soldiers studying a map before an advance. He did this to Lorraine as well, I say. Ethan looks at me. What? 1995. Same penmanship, same card stock. She married a schoolteacher. Gerald produced a name card that read, the teacher who married down. That is his own sister. Yes. Ethan leans back. He is silent for a considerable moment. When he speaks, his voice carries the weight of our fathers. He is never going to stop, is he? No. Then I need to see what you have. I reach into my clutch. I withdraw the manila envelope. I rest it across my lap. Not here, I say. The garden. 5 minutes. He nods. He rises. He fastens his jacket. He crosses to the head table to say something to Paige. I cannot hear the words. Then he moves toward the garden doors. I follow. But before we reach the garden, Gerald takes the microphone again. This is unexpected. The father of the bride has already delivered his toast. The DJ has already transitioned to dancing. But Gerald is Gerald. And when Gerald desires a microphone, one appears. One final thought, he announces, and the room pivots entirely. He stands at the center of the head table, Prosecco in hand, surveying 200 faces the way a man surveys property he considers his own. I want to acknowledge Ethan's family situation. My grip tightens on the envelope. Not everyone has the advantages my daughter enjoyed. Not everyone grows up with a stable household, with resources, with a name that unlocks doors. He allows the silence to expand. He is a man who understands timing the way I understand balance sheets, instinctively. But Ethan elevated himself through hard work, through talent, through sheer determination. He did not require a safety net. He did not need anyone to carry him. He turns to Paige, raises his glass. And now he has a genuine family. The word genuine detonates quietly. I feel it in my teeth. 200 glasses rise. The room applauds. Gerald smiles, the smile of a man who has never been contradicted beneath his own roof. Ethan is standing near the garden doors. He does not lift his glass. His eyes find mine across the room. My father's watch presses into my wrist. By himself. Gerald delivered it like established fact. Like 13 years of canned soup, night classes, guardianship hearings, and sleeping on a couch while a child grew up in the adjacent room were events that unfolded in a vacuum. By himself, he erased me. Before 200 people with 3 syllables, he erased 13 years. Ethan is already moving toward the garden. The garden is still. String lights overhead, gravel path underfoot, the ballroom music a low pulse through the walls. The air carries the scent of jasmine and mowed grass and something drawing to a close. I stand facing Ethan. The manila envelope rests in my hands. I could walk to that microphone right now. I say I could unseal this envelope, read my CPA license number aloud, present the promotion letter, Tell every person in that room that the broke sister they have been laughing at was just elevated to senior manager at one of the largest accounting firms in this state. Ethan waits. But that is not who I am. That is not what Dad instilled in me. The Timex moves against my wrist. Somewhere inside, the bass of a dance song reverberates through the floor. I am not going to create a scene, but I am not going to be erased either. What you choose to do with this information belongs to you. I extend the envelope. You do not have to open it before anyone. You do not have to utter a single word. But you deserve to know what is inside, because your father-in-law has spent the past year constructing a version of the world in which I am nothing. And I am not nothing. Ethan accepts the envelope. He looks at me the way he looked at me the night I signed the guardianship papers, as though I am the only steady thing in a room that is tilting. I did not raise him so he could witness my humiliation. I say it and I mean every syllable. You are not going to stand here and watch me be humiliated either. He says it quietly, then turns toward the ballroom doors. Ethan, I know what I am doing. Bridge. I follow him. The doors part and the music continues. Ethan pauses in the garden alcove, a stone bench encircled by boxwood hedges, positioned halfway between the ballroom and the parking lot. He opens the manila envelope. He examines the CPA license first, draws his thumb across the state seal, sets it aside. The promotion letter next. His eyes move across the words Senior Manager, Morrison and Klein, effective June 1st, base salary, benefits, the paragraph regarding exceptional contributions to client relationships. He looks up. You did not tell me about this. I was going to, after the wedding. He lifts the commendation letter and reads it in silence. The client who authored it described me as the most thorough and principled analyst he had encountered in 23 years. Ethan's lips move as he reaches that passage. Then I show him my phone. The photograph from Gerald's office. The test print resting in the printer tray. The handwritten note. Use the same font as the others. She will assume it came from the planner. Ethan reads the note 3 times. His expression moves through distinct stages. Surprise, then fury, then something harder and quieter than fury. Resolve. He planned this, Ethan says. He actually sat at his desk and deliberately engineered your humiliation at my wedding. I am not asking you to act. I am showing you who you have married into. Ethan returns the documents to the envelope. He holds it in both hands like something simultaneously fragile and immensely heavy. No, he says. You are showing me who raised me. He stands. He fastens his jacket. He tucks the envelope beneath his arm. I am going back inside. Ethan, consider this carefully. I have been considering it for 13 years. The ballroom doors open. The music is still playing. 200 people are still dancing. Not for much longer. We walk back into the ballroom together. Shoulder to shoulder, his tuxedo and my navy dress, the boy I raised and the woman who raised him, crossing a marble floor that was never intended to hold both of us simultaneously. Gerald notices us first. He is mid-conversation with 2 men in coordinating silk ties when his gaze tracks our path from the garden doors to the center of the room. His smile does not vanish. It recalibrates. He reads gatherings the way I read financial statements. And something in this particular room has fundamentally shifted. Paige notices us next. She is at the head table, champagne flute in hand, and she lowers it gradually when she registers Ethan's expression. She understands. I can tell by the way her fingers tighten around the stem. Lorraine from across the room catches my eye. A small, deliberate nod. Not a signal. A declaration. I am here. Ethan approaches the DJ booth. He speaks quietly. The music fades. The DJ leans toward his microphone. The groom would like to say a few words. Murmurs spread through the gathering. This was not included in the program. Gerald's smile constricts. He sets down his glass and straightens his jacket. A reflex, armor being fastened. Ethan walks to the microphone stand at the edge of the dance floor. He adjusts it. He looks out across 200 faces. The manila envelope is in his left hand. I stand near the garden doors, 15 feet from the exit. My clutch is empty now. The envelope is with Ethan. My phone is in my dress pocket. The only remaining item inside the clutch is a packet of tissues I hope I will not require. 200 people turn toward the microphone. Gerald reaches for his water glass. His hand is unsteady. I was not planning to speak again this evening, Ethan says. His voice carries that same steadiness our father possessed, the kind forged from having nothing left to surrender. But something has occurred that I cannot allow to pass. The room falls into that particular silence that descends when 200 people cease breathing in the same moment. My father-in-law said something during his toast that I must correct. He stated that I pulled myself up by myself. Gerald shifts in his chair. Diane reaches for his arm. He withdraws from her touch. That is not accurate. Ethan pauses. I observe his throat. He swallows once. When I was 11 years old, my father died. My mother had already departed. She left when my sister was 7. The state of North Carolina intended to place me in foster care. One person prevented that. He turns toward table 14. Every head in the room follows. One person signed guardianship papers at 19 years old. Withdrew from college. Worked 2 positions. Day shift at a plumbing supply office, evenings tutoring mathematics, so I could remain in school and sleep in a proper bed. She took the couch. For 6 years she slept on a couch so I could have the bedroom. The room has stopped breathing entirely. That person is seated at table 14, nearest to the kitchen doors. He raises the name card, ivory cardstock, calligraphy font. This is what was positioned at her place setting this evening. He reads it aloud, each syllable precise, each word deliberate, his voice carrying to the furthest corner of the room and returning off the marble. Poor broke sister living off her brother. The reactions are not polished. They are genuine. A woman at table 6 raises a hand to her mouth. A man at table 9 leans forward. Someone behind me breathes, no, and means it completely. Gerald's complexion drains. The color recedes from his forehead downward like a tide withdrawing from shore. Ethan opens the manila envelope. He extracts the first document and holds it aloft. This is my sister's CPA license, issued by the North Carolina State Board of Certified Public Accountants. He places it on the nearest table. A guest retrieves it, reads it carefully, passes it to the woman beside her. This is her employee badge at Morrison & Klein, the 3rd largest accounting firm in this state. He sets that down as well. It continues traveling. This is a commendation letter from a client whose company she preserved from a $2 million audit error. By now, the room has transformed entirely. The laughter from earlier has dissolved. The guests who snickered at the name card are studying their plates. And this, Ethan raises the final document. This is a promotion letter. Effective June 1st. My sister has been elevated to senior manager. He looks directly at Gerald. The way you look at someone you have resolved to stop respecting. You said I constructed myself from nothing. No. I was built by Bridget Fuller. She purchased my school supplies with tip money. She drove me to every college visit in a car with a fractured windshield. She reviewed every application I submitted. Gerald rises. Ethan, that is sufficient. I am not finished. The room holds its breath. Ethan turns fully toward Gerald. His voice lowers, but it carries to every corner. You just made the most costly error of your life. Silence. Because the next time you disrespect my sister, the next time you place a card on a table or deliver a toast that erases her existence or attempt to purchase my loyalty with a corner office, you lose a son-in-law. Gerald's mouth parts. Nothing emerges. The room does not erupt in applause. Not yet. It erupts in noise, murmurs, sharp breaths, the sound of 200 people recalculating everything they believed they understood about the man seated at the head table. I did not raise him so he could witness my humiliation. He heard me. He has always heard me. Gerald breaks. This is my daughter's wedding, he announces, his voice stripped of its practiced warmth. What remains is raw and exposed, the voice of a man who has never been contradicted before witnesses. I funded all of this. Every arrangement, every plate, every glass of champagne you are consuming. You do not get to. Gerald. A single word from across the room. Lorraine stands. She is holding her phone. The screen is illuminated. The photograph from 1995. You did this to me 30 years ago, she says. Her voice is not raised, but it requires no amplification. The room is so still I can hear the ice shifting in someone's water glass. Same card, same penmanship, same ivory card stock. You wrote Gerald's embarrassment, the teacher who married down, and positioned it at my place setting. Gerald's complexion transitions from crimson to ashen. Lorraine, be seated. I have been seated for 30 years. I am finished sitting. She lifts her phone. The image is small, but guests at the nearest tables lean forward. They observe the handwriting. They see the undeniable match. Gerald turns to Diane. Say something. Diane contemplates her hands. Her rings catch the chandelier light. She says nothing. Gerald turns to Paige. Tell them this is absurd. Paige is weeping. Not the manner in which a bride weeps on her wedding day, with joy, with champagne warmth. She is weeping because she is watching Ethan's face. And she can see it. The door closing. The calculation completing. The husband she married 12 hours ago determining what he can and cannot accept. After everything I have contributed to this family, Gerald begins. Nobody completes the sentence for him. Nobody steps forward to rescue him. The man who has spent 30 years commanding every room he occupies is standing at the center of one. And for the first time in his life, the room has stopped listening. I have not spoken a word. I am still positioned near table 14, watching with complete composure. The room turns toward me. I have been silent through all of it. Through Ethan's address, through the documents, through Gerald's outburst and Lorraine's revelation, I have been standing near table 14 in my navy dress with my father's watch on my wrist, and I have not produced a single syllable. Now I walk forward. Not toward Gerald, not toward the microphone. Toward Ethan. He remains at the mic stand, the envelope emptied in his hand, his eyes luminous. I cross the dance floor, 15 feet of Italian marble that suddenly resembles a runway, and I stop beside my brother. He reaches for my hand. His fingers graze the Timex on my wrist. Dad would be proud, he whispers. I face the room. 200 expressions, some sympathetic, some stunned, some already composing the messages they will send from the parking lot. I am not going to deliver a speech, I say. My voice is composed, the steadiest it has been throughout this entire evening. I am not going to enumerate my accomplishments, because my value is never contained in a license or a title or a promotion letter. I pause. My value is in that man right there. I look at Ethan and he understands it. He has always understood it. I cross to table 14. I retrieve the name card, the one I positioned face up hours ago, the one Diane turned face down, the one that initiated everything. I carry it to the head table. I set it on the tablecloth, directly before Gerald Whitfield. Ivory card stock, calligraphy font. Poor broke sister living off her brother. You may keep this, I say. I turn toward the exit. Ethan is already beside me. We walk. The distance from the head table to the ballroom doors is 47 steps. I count them because that is what I do. I count things. Ethan is on my left. His hand rests on my shoulder, not directing me, not steering me. Simply present. The weight of a brother who chose correctly. Behind us, I hear a chair pushed back. Heels on marble. I do not turn, but I recognize it as Lorraine. 3 people departing a 200-person wedding. Step 20. The tables on either side are observing. A woman at table 8 is crying. A man at table 3 is nodding slowly, his jaw firm. The photographer lowers his camera. Step 30. Someone begins to applaud. A single person somewhere near the center of the room. Then another. Then 4 more. It is not thunderous. It is scattered and tentative. The sound of people uncertain whether they are permitted to respond but unable to restrain themselves. Step 40. Gerald is seated. I catch his reflection in the glass doors as we approach. He is diminishing into his chair, his shoulders curling inward. The posture of a man who has just discovered that wealth cannot purchase silence when truth speaks louder. Step 47. We pass through the doors. Outside, the air carries the fragrance of jasmine and gravel dust. The valet has departed. It is past 11. My Honda Civic sits between the Mercedes and the Range Rover, and it has never appeared more distinguished. I am sorry, Bridge, Ethan says. Do not apologize. You chose correctly. Lorraine steps through the doors behind us. She adjusts her reading glasses. You both did. I unlock the car. Ethan settles into the passenger seat, the same seat where the manila envelope rested 11 days ago. Lorraine slides into the back. I start the engine. I pull away from the Whitfield estate. I do not consult the rearview mirror. 3 people in a Honda Civic. A peculiar, imperfect, entirely perfect family. Sunday morning, 7:12. Ethan is asleep on my couch. The same couch where I slept for 6 years. He is still in his tuxedo trousers, his jacket folded across the arm, his bow tie resting on the coffee table beside a cold mug of chamomile tea. I prepare coffee, 2 cups, the way I have every Sunday morning since he was 12. His with excessive cream. Mine black. My phone carries 47 text messages and 12 missed calls. I scroll through them while the coffee brews. Page, 11 messages, escalating in desperation. Please contact me. I was unaware he intended to speak. Ethan, please. I love you. Diane, 2 messages. This was unnecessary. Then 30 minutes later, I am sorry. Gerald, 1 message. You have devastated my daughter's wedding. I hope you feel satisfied. Gerald's assistant, 3 missed calls, no voicemails. And then there is the other matter. The photograph of my name card, captured by someone at table 14 before I had even seen it myself, is circulating. A woman named Sheila, unknown to me, shared it in a local community group with the caption, "This was at a Whitfield wedding last night." Yes, that Whitfield. I set the phone down. Pulls a coffee. I carry both cups to the living room and place one beside Ethan's bow tie. He opens his eyes. Morning, I say. Morning. He sits upright, accepts the cup, drinks. We settle into the quiet the way we have always inhabited quiet together. 2 people who understood long ago that silence between family is never vacant. It is full. Ethan contacts Paige at 9. I am in the kitchen washing dishes. I need not be present for this, but the apartment is modest, so I absorb everything. I love you, Ethan says, but I require you to choose between your father's rules and our life together. Paige's voice arrives thinly through the speaker. I told him it was wrong, Ethan. Was wrong, Ethan? I informed him before the dinner. You told him and then permitted it to proceed. A prolonged pause. I hear Paige breathing. I hear what sounds like a door closing on her end. I know, she says. I know. I allowed it to happen. Then here is what must change. Gerald does not contact me or Bridget until he offers a genuine apology. Not a toast. Not a public statement. And we begin counseling, you and I, starting this week. All right. All right is insufficient. I need you to mean it. I mean it. By Monday morning, the consequences have reached Gerald's professional life. 2 business associates cancel scheduled appointments without explanation, simply calendar adjustments. His country club foursome partner calls to say he cannot make Thursday's round. Lorraine's post appears at noon. The 1995 name card photograph position beside a detailed account of what transpired at the wedding. Caption: 30 years later, same handwriting. By Tuesday, it has been shared 112 times. Diane contacts me on Wednesday. I understand you may not accept this, but I am sorry. Thank you, Diane. But an apology carries no weight until it produces change. She does not contest this. She ends the call. 1 week later, I sign my promotion letter. Senior Manager, Morrison and Klein. My managing partner, Marcus, extends his hand and says, "You earned this 3 years ago." We are simply catching up to the truth. Ethan and Paige begin couples counseling. She chose Ethan. She informed Gerald to maintain his distance until a genuine apology is offered. He has not complied. Every Sunday morning, Ethan comes to my apartment. He settles on the couch. I prepare coffee, his with excessive cream, mine black. Sometimes we discuss work, architecture, a recipe he is attempting. Sometimes we do not speak at all. The Timex rests on my wrist. The crystal is scratched. The band is worn to silk. It keeps perfect time. I did not attend that wedding to engage in conflict. I went because I raised a remarkable man and I wanted to witness his joy. What I received instead was something entirely unexpected. Confirmation that my worth was never in question. It was Gerald who was always impoverished. That is my story. One name card. 13 years of raising a brother who chose correctly, and a room full of people who finally encountered the truth. If someone ever attempts to inscribe your name incorrectly, stand up. You already know who you are. Drop a comment, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.